Hey girl, I'm so excited to share with you that the latest version of my signature 12-week program, Thrive, is out. You can grab it at bit.ly/thrive and train for life. As busy midlife moms, the reason you aren't seeing or feeling results is because you're not following a program that was made with you in mind. Thrive is a habit-based fitness program custom made for midlife moms. Now, the secret sauce is in the progressive overload, metabolic conditioning, and phasing every 4 weeks paired with habit coaching to ensure you stick with it. This is training for life. Now, the workouts in Thrive are results driven and time efficient. You can do them at home or the gym. All levels are welcome as I always provide modifications, and I even include some bonus habit hacking resources and accountability from me, like lifetime access. This includes updates every quarter to Thrive, my habit course that has helped hundreds of women make their habits stick, and a private podcast feed that I update every quarter as well, with habit hacks to address the challenges that come up in that season of life for us as midlife moms. Plus, you get exclusive texting to me for added accountability. So purchase Thrive now. I've made it super affordable and accessible inside of my app without a membership, and you grab lifetime access to all updates. Again, you can grab it at bit.ly/thrive and train for life. I can't wait to hear about the transformation that is finally going to happen for you. Okay, girl, let's get into the show. Hey girl, if you're done with dieting and the constant starting and stopping of your healthy habits because, well, life, and you'd rather find a way to train for life instead, then you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Emily, habit and fitness coach and midlife boy mom. I've gone from frustrated dieter to now consistently and confidently living a healthy lifestyle, following the habit hacking systems that I'm now going to teach you. Think of this as atomic habits for women. I'm now helping other midlife moms like you feel and look good in their favorite leggings through all seasons of life, following my habit-based fitness programming. No more dieting, my friend, just training for life. So are you ready to habit hack your health? Then let's do this. You're listening to episode 296 of Habit Hack Your Health. Hey girl, welcome back to the show. Now, I don't know about you, but my fitness and wellness journey has oftentimes been spiritual in a way. I feel that my mind is more clear. I feel more positive after moving my body. And I honestly just hear God more clearly when I am consistently moving my body. My favorite is outdoor rucking. That is when I find like the most clarity. I can hear God a little bit better as well. Now, when I think back to over 10 years ago, when I finally got serious about my healthy habits, the reason they weren't sticking before is because I really didn't connect my wellness to any of my values, right? I was stuck in a diet culture mentality that promoted going hard to get skinny and punishing my body when I really think back to it, it wasn't serving me at all. I was emotionally eating and feeling guilty, then restricting myself, and then just not really being nice in the way I talked to myself either. I was just going through the motions, and my body and mind were not transforming because of it. Talk about frustrating. Now, if you feel like you have ever been down this road as well, I know a lot of you have, friends. First, I would go listen to my free private podcast, Atomic Habits for Women. It's at bit.ly/Atomic Habits for Women. It's linked in the show notes as well. I break down how to lose that diet culture mentality and the all or nothing mentality that we often have as midlife moms. And we use habit hacking strategies that help us make our habits stick in just 21 days using the system I teach there. So go listen. And then after that, go to the link in the show notes to start training for life with me in my app if you need habit-based fitness training or if you just need one-on-one coaching, someone cheering you on. I am here for you if any of this feels like it relates to you as well. So just like you have to train your muscles to grow and maintain your muscles, you have to train your brain just like a muscle. You have to put in the reps. And that means making it a habit that you do over and over and over again to flip the script whenever that all or nothing mentality or diet culture mentality creeps back in. Because trust me, it does. Now, one way you can do that is to connect your values to your fitness journey. And really, you can do that in all areas of your life. It makes the journey much more meaningful. And on those days when you're not motivated and you're just tired, you can really think about that reward on the other side of how good it makes you feel and how it ties back to your values. And we're going to do that with my guest today, my friend Chase Williams. So let me tell you about Chase. She is a dynamic speaker, transformational coach, and mother of three who revolutionizes how families approach health and wellness. With over a decade of experience in the fitness industry, she's evolved from leading high energy group fitness classes to empowering mothers nationwide to create lasting change in their families. Her journey from corporate fitness director to founder of Chaselynn Fitness exemplifies her core message. Authentic transformation begins when we honor our true calling. So today, Chase guides women to discover their voice, establish healthy boundaries, and lead their family toward generational wellness, all while embracing the beautiful chaos of motherhood. And you're going to love this conversation with Chase just as much as I did the first time and re-listening back to it as well. Because when you lead with your values, your habits that you're doing around your health and all other areas of your life, like I mentioned, are going to be so much more meaningful and they are going to stick. And just speaking mom to mom in this conversation as well, we really dig deep into how we're also setting the example for our kids. And we share a different perspective of me being a mom of teenage boys and her being the mom of three little girls. It's going to hit home for all of you mamas, okay? So I can't wait for you to listen to this conversation. As always, make sure to stick around to the end for my three biggest takeaways. All right, let's go chat with Chase.
Okay, friends, welcome back to Habit Hack Your Health. Friends, you are going to love my new friend, Chase Williams. Chase, thank you so much for coming on the show.
I'm so glad to be here. Talk about all the fun things.
Yay! We are like kindred spirits. I love it. I love it. Well, the first question I ask every guest is, what is your favorite habit hack just saving your life right now?
Yeah, I actually my favorite thing I'm doing right now is part of my evening routine. And a while back, I had gotten one of those red lights for my face, and it's about I think you sit on it for about 15 or 18 minutes, where you turn it on and it's like rocking and rolling and doing all the like beautiful lines on my face. So I in the evenings after I do my face routine, which has been a normal part of my process for a long time, I sit down and I put the red light on and I stack it with meditation. So I put in my
Mhm.
earbuds. My husband's over here watching like, I don't even know, Friends or um what's Big Bang Theory. Like he's over here like watching his nighttime show and I'm like red light, like he calls me Freddie. He calls me Freddie because it's like this big, white thing on my face. He's like, Freddie, how you doing? I'm like, don't talk to me. I'm meditating. So I plug in my AirPods and the silence, like I'm in full
Mhm.
on me mode. And I've got my red light on, my ears in, and I put on like a mindset meditation. And so that's been like super amazing because I then am sitting there and I like let the day go. And it
Mhm.
has been mentally, because
Mhm.
I'm a goer. I'm a go, go, go all the
Mhm.
time. I'm a mama three. And I will say that that over the last I probably started about 90, beginning of the year kind of deal. And man, it's been really supportive. Like it mentally is super clearing and feels super good. So
I love that habit stack. I have a little red light that clips on books. I've been trying to read more fun books, like actual physical, like fun books at night. And I have a
oh
little
wow.
red light that clips on it. But I've been wanting to get one of those masks. Okay, I'll have to
Yeah.
add to cart here in a
Yeah,
little bit.
do it, just do it. And then maybe your husband will call you Freddie too.
Oh man, that'd be so good. Okay, well, tell us a little bit about yourself, Chase. Like, what is the story that has really led to what you do today and who you are?
Yeah. So It's funny when I unpack, like when I share this, like the background, I'm like, oh, look at God putting all these pieces together to where I am today. And because you can see all the stories unraveling in the chapters, like kind of coming together to who I am today. And so I actually was a competitive all-star cheerleader growing up. And then I coached an all-star cheer program for about 7 years at like around college, late college time. And then from there, I went into a couple of different sales jobs. I sold cheer uniforms. I sold, what's it called? Basically like sporting goods things to public schools where I outfitted them and like Nike and all that kind of stuff. So did that for a hot second. And then I got into actually going into personal training. I did group fitness classes and rolled into that space. And that was life changing. Like, I'm like, oh, so I get to be like personality and like work with people. I'm such a personal, like a people person. And all of it kind of just came together and watching it kind of unravel. And so I've been in the fitness and nutrition space since 2011. And now I'm a mom. I homeschool. I run my own company. And so here we are. It's all of these things kind of just coming together and pieced as one unit, kind of where I'm at today.
I love that. I feel like most trainers are, they're very people person, and it's like you're very empathetic and you can really feel other people's feelings and you just want to serve and help
Yes.
other people, right?
Yeah, it's so good. And it's funny because like I looking back, I thought that cheerleading was going to be the way I like impacted the world. And I was like, oh, I'm like these kids are going to be so impacted because I'm their coach. And I was like, wait a minute, I only see these people like 3 to 6 hours a week. I only see these kids for a short amount of time.
Mhm.
And then once I really started stepping into if I'm going to impact these kids, it really boils down to how I can help their parents. And then I,
Wow.
did the group fitness
Mhm.
stuff. And then once I got out of that space, I was like, wait, no, now that I'm a mom, like it's a whole new ball game. And I'm like, I got to help these moms do it because like that's really where the meat and potatoes happen is when that mom is stepping into her and doing her thing. Like, oh, it's so good. And that's where I like to see the ripple effect kind of come into play is because once the mom steps into like this new being, like
Mhm.
everything else falls into place after that. So,
Yeah. I know, like we were just talking about, we just did a podcast swap about how like being a mom is kingdom work and you got to feel your healthiest and your best to be on your toes every day and
I
serve
know.
those little ones for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because like I don't think when you think of like little people, even my husband is like, do you need food or do you need to go on a walk? Because he like when I start having these
Yeah.
emotional spaces or like it's kind of like a resistance, in the home. He's like, "What do you need?" And I'm like, I need alone time. I'm just gonna go to walk and get some sunshine, and I'll be right back. And I'm like, and I'm going by myself. I'm not taking any children with me. I'm like, I
Mhm.
need to go just be in the
Yeah.
sunshine. I'll be right back, and I should be good to go. Or I need protein or food. I'm like, hey, yeah. Usually around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, he's like, hey, what are you eating for your snack? I'm like, I don't know, but I need something. So
They
yeah,
pick up on it. That's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
That's for sure. I love chatting with other coaches like you, Chase, who really take a holistic approach to health. And I think we hear a lot of chatter sometimes online, like, I'm a holistic coach, I'm a holistic coach. But what does that mean to you? Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah. I it cheered me up even just asking the question. I am such a
Oh,
because holistic health is something that I had my days early on when I started coaching and or when I started training, right? Like I was a personal trainer. I'm like, get in your workouts, train insane, remain the
yeah.
same, right? Like
Mhm.
all of those phrases that I thought that's what fitness was.
Yeah.
I thought that only you just got to go hard all the time. You have to like do double workouts a day. You have to run marathons. Like I did all those. I already did all that. And mentally, I'm like, oh, if I missed a workout or if I and this was pre-kids, like going this hardcore before pre-kids, I'm like, oh my gosh. And once I realized I got into having kids, I'm like, there is so much more that I'm not doing. Um, and that I need to be doing to be a better mom. And I was like, I'm not teaching this all or nothing, this go hard. Like I was eating one meal a day pre-kids, training like twice a day. Like it was not a healthy space. And when I think holistically, the reason I was going so hard, it was such a controlling, like I was trying to just control everything that I could control.
Yeah.
And there was no, like, if I was out of control, I felt like very uneasy. and very like not safe. And so I know a lot of that all or nothing mentality stems from that control space. And so what I realized is, I mean, you know, kids change you being a mom, right? Like kids will change you. They will test you. They will like push you to be a better version of you. Like if you're not like, it is insane how much growth that happened once I did become a mom. And I will say, like, it didn't happen overnight where I realized it was a holistic space. I'm like, oh, fitness is in its own little bucket over here.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go over here and you just got to go hard, you just got to do it. I thought that that's what you had to do. And then when I realized, like, oh, wait, I'm a mom and this is not going to work anymore. Like, I cannot go run 7 hours for training for a marathon on a Saturday anymore. Like, I cannot run for 7 hours with the stroller. Like that baby is not going to run for 7 hours. And I was like, there's got to be some shifting and some movement here. And what I realized is as I was, you know, when you think holistically, holistic is all the buckets working together. It's a balance, right? And so, and when you don't have that center, the center part is first, and then everything around it, like has to be in balance. And how you do that is you start with like, for me, it's Christ. You start with Christ. You start with your, you know, the deep values,
Mm-hmm.
and then everything, every decision that you make pours back into Him. Every, you know, when it comes to your finances, your business, your spouse relationship, your motherhood, your, oh my gosh, like there's so much to unpack in all of those little
Mm-hmm.
compartments, right? But all of those pieces, like your sleep, your, it all comes together. And when it comes together, it all just like flows a little bit easier because you're not just going so hard over here in your fitness regimen and then you're like not present as a mom. Or you're
Mm-hmm.
going so hard over here in your business, but then you're not reading your kids' stories at night. Like there, you know, and it's
Yeah.
like this whole balance that kind of comes together. And when you think of it, just if you were just to put it in your fitness and nutrition space, it all aligns and it all comes back to like your foundation.
Yeah.
And in order to continue building up on that foundation, like you have to have a solid foundation. You cannot build, and you know that being a habit stacker, right? Like you cannot build on something that is not there yet. Like you have to make the habit stick in order for you to grow on it. And I know we were speaking earlier, like before we started recording, or was it on the recording we did for my podcast? I don't remember what it said, but you mentioned like saying that when you have these tabs, you talked about having open tabs,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were talking about, okay, well, if one stays open all the time, like you were talking about like the fitness thing, like once that habit is there and it's ready to rock and roll and it's like just part of who you are, there's no more like constantly thinking about it, you know. And that's
Yeah.
what I teach with my clients is like when you're building a plate, and this is again back to the foundation, when you build a plate of food, if you don't know how to look at it to start, there's no way you can start tracking macros or doing all this stuff if you don't have the foundation of stuff. So
Mm.
first you have to get awareness of what you're currently doing, and then you build on it and you build on it and you build on it and you just get better and you get better and you get better. And holistically, like you got to eat, you got to move, you got to sleep, you got to, you know, regulate, you have to like be in prayer time with Jesus, like you got to have a great relationship with your husband and to have these conversations. So man, there's so much to unpack when it comes to holistically, because you can't just be over here all or nothing and only focus on like movement or only focus on the next best booty growing workout. Like there has to be this holistic approach to your health.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got all fired up there.
Oh my gosh, me too. I feel like I'm sweating. I'm like, yes,
Me
yes,
too.
yes. Well, I think the thing is, Chase, I think a lot to unpack there, but I think a lot of times we think working out, restricting our calories as a means to an end. And a lot of times it's looking a certain way or like what diet culture has told us what movement and nutrition should look like. And it's kind of like you said, when you have kids, your perspective kind of changes. It's kind of like, well, what was the point of all that? Like what was really the point? And like you said, if you don't have a solid foundation really rooted in your values and who you are, whether it be, I want to be at the beginning of the year, we always think about our family values, my own personal values, and I think about my business values as well. And I build all of my habits around those because it's really easy to get caught up in all of the tabs open in your head, all of the craziness, and be like, well, this is really getting away from my values, right? I'm just working out because I'm up 5, 10 pounds and it just won't come off since I've had these kids, right? And it's okay to want to lose weight and look a certain way, but there's more to it than that. It's more like, I want to have more energy, so I'm there for my kids. I want to feel more clear-minded. I talk all the time. I have walk and talks with Jesus all the time, or on my Peloton, or just like randomly throughout the day, because I feel more level-headed when I am moving my body versus like 20 years ago. I'm like, well, I'm moving my body to like look a certain way, you know? So it becomes a lot more deeper and becomes a lot more intentional. And that's when it sticks. That's when it
Yeah.
sticks and it's way more meaningful. And I just love what you stand for. It's more of a holistic view, like you said, and that all just impacts each other. Now,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, and I think too, you mentioned the part where if you're not building, I can't remember how you phrased it, but you're basically going into this space of, when you do get with the kids and then you start the intent, right? You mentioned
Yeah.
the word intent.
Intention. Mm-hmm.
And when you think of, oh my gosh, like you think of like your family and like, why am I doing this? And I know, like, especially looking back, I'm like, it was a physical direction. Like I wanted to physically look a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
and that perceived, like have that perception of like, oh, I'm healthy.
Yeah.
And then, but what's crazy is like, even though I was like skinny, like people are like, oh my gosh, you look so good. And like, but I was only eating like one meal a day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? So it was like this weird intent, like, I'm not saying intent there. I'm saying like a disconnect. I'm like, I'm doing
Yeah,
these
that's
things
what it is.
where I look healthy and people are praising me for this
Mm.
health. And I'm like, but back on the back end, I'm sitting over here going, wait, but I'm not being healthy and I feel like total trash.
Yeah.
Like, what is happening here? Like, people are saying, oh, you look so good and you're doing such a good job. But I'm over here feeling like poo poo. I'm like, this is not like, there is no alignment here. And so, what I mean, like, I wanted to visit on that intent part because I think a lot of women, and because I work with a whole bunch of women too, just like you, where they say, oh, I just want to lose the weight, right? Or they use a very, and I'm going to be direct here, very surfacey like
Yeah.
goal.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, this is what I want to do. And I'm like, yeah, but why? And I think that's important as coaches, is to really help somebody navigate, why they're doing the things. And if I had someone in my corner, back in the day when I was eating one meal a day, I'm like, I wish someone would have been in my space saying, what are you doing? And
Yeah.
why do you feel that you have to like prove yourself to be skinnier? Like, what are you trying to prove here? And for me, it was a control thing. Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to be controlling of like all the things around me, like, which is why I could control my workouts. I could control like doing all the miles, and I could control checking off the box. But if you're not intentional with what you're actually trying to create, because I was not intentional then. I didn't know what I was doing. It was a controlling thing. It was from a very not safe space. But when you're intentional with what you're trying to achieve, and you actually have someone dive in deep with you and say, hey, no, we need to get a little clearer on what you're trying to create and what that intent is. Because if you don't know what you're trying to create and you're not clear on it, there's a misalignment, right? And that's what I was experiencing early on, is like this misalignment where people are saying, you're healthy, you look so good, but deep down I'm feeling like trash. I'm like, that is disaligned. And so when you later, if nowadays I'm like, wait, what is aligning with my family views and my family goals, and what do I want to create for my girls? And I'm like, everything that I'm doing has an intention, and it has a focus and a goal and like a vision of what we're trying to create.
Yeah.
Oh, again, got fired up.
Yeah, well, and I think that's why a lot of women struggle with consistency sometimes, right? They don't have a true intention behind what they're doing, or they have really high hopes and motivation. Or, I'm a little older than you, and sometimes I work with women like 35 plus, and they're like, well, this used to work for me. If I would just go hardcore and extreme, it would work for me. I'm like, well, do you have that time available now that you had 10 years ago? More than likely, they're like, no, I'm busier than ever. Like, my hair's on fire. I'm like, okay, so that's not going to work now in this season of life that you're in. And Paula, your values and your lifestyle have changed. Your kids have gotten older. Maybe you have a different job that's more high demanding, powerful job or whatever. You have to kind of realign and kind of recalibrate to be like, okay, where am I at now? What is the intention now? And not let it be driven by something that like worked 20 years or 10 or even like a year ago. Like
A year ago. Yeah.
we change physically, mentally, like spiritually, like everything changes, and that's okay. We just got to be able to pivot with it and think about it as a healthy habit journey. Like, we always talk about training for life here. And along the way, the physical transformation that may happen, that's just bonus points. That's like the queso on top of your taco. It's bonus. It's amazing. We love it.
Yes. We love queso. No, just
Yeah.
kidding.
Well,
Yeah,
I
for sure.
love, okay, you have three little girls, and I love how you are really focused on creating a home that's focused on health. Can you share a little bit more about that? I think that is really important for our listeners to dig a little deeper for themselves.
For sure. And it's funny because I was discussing this with someone recently. I think one of my other guests that came on to my show. And when I think of overall health when it comes to our kids, it's not always just, me being a fitness and nutrition coach. It's not just fitness. It's not just, working out. It's not just like lifting adequately for your goals. Like it's not that. Like the overall health in your home comes from, again, that holistic space. And for me, there's so much as we continue getting better as a society, as we continue like pushing the needle in different realms of one, learning more about our health, learning more about doing more studies and asking deeper questions of like getting to the root causes of some of the things we're experiencing, like whether that's chronic fatigue or chronic illness or ADHD in children, like all of those things. And so I get super fired up because I am so passionate about creating a healthier version of generations. And I get so fired up that some people are like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm just real passionate. I just get real excited because." And even though I'm personally like, I'm not an expert in all the fields, but you can't be. That's why you partner with people that are like, they're expert. They're expert in their space. But some of that, when I think about it for my kids, it's what systems or processes can we do, what methods can we follow as a family that are going to give them the best results. And so I always bring this back to some of the little decisions we made as a family. So we chose early on to do baby-led weaning. And because of the development of the palate, because of exposing them to more fruitful foods, right? To it's sensory and learning, and so much happens in that first, like the first experiences with foods. And us as a family, my husband was like, "What are we doing? This is not safe." I'm like, "It is safe. You should be quiet. We're doing baby-led weaning." And but those all dialed in because I now have a 9, 6, and 3-year-old, and the way they eat, some people are blown away by the variety of foods that they consume, that they ask for. They're like, "Can we have a shrimp boil?" My husband makes like lobster and boiled shrimp and corn on the cob, and he like makes this whole thing, and the girls absolutely love a shrimp boil. It is so cute. But I'm like, what like 3-year-old or 5-year-old goes, "Hey, can we have a shrimp boil?" Like,
Yeah,
little things like that. But I think when I discuss things as a family, or we discuss and make decisions as a family, it really boils down to like, how is this going to help them develop as a human? How is this going to be something that is going to be lifelong supportive to them, not just like right now? And so some of those decisions were for the long term, just like we did. We did baby-led weaning. We did, we sleep trained our children because like they were able to put themselves to sleep. And like, not that we were like, man, because when you start diving into like sleep training online, like it's a whole thing. But for us, it made sense. And it made sense because I'm like, I want my child to independently know how to put themselves to sleep. I want them to be able to sleep through the night and go into the next sleep cycle and all of that. And now I'm in a space where my kids are getting bigger and I'm learning more about like airway breathing. And so there's so much to unpack, and the development of their mouth and how it could be. Oh, there's so much. But when you say health, like to me, it's like not just like fitness and nutrition. Like Absolutely. It is this holistic thing because I'm like, I want my child to be able to sleep well and not have apnea and be able to like breathe while she's sleeping. And now like being able to know that like the sleeping is going to then affect them like later with like potentially ADHD or all these other chronic issues that we have going on. And I'm not the expert in it, but I dabble in it because I want to create give them the best tools possible. And as we continue learning and growing as a society, it's like we have to keep growing. We have to keep implementing these strategies for the long term, not just for the right now. And that is something that is I get real fired up about because I'm like, what are we doing today? And what am I doing as a mom?
Yeah.
And that's emotionally too. Like, what am I doing to not have this trauma stuff, that all that control stuff that I shared earlier?
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I can't let that be me anymore.
Absolutely.
Like I had to grow through that so I can see, my kids developing in certain ways where I'm like, ooh, that's something I struggle with, or that's something their dad struggles with. Like, okay, let's help walk them through that to be able to do breath work. Let's get regulated. Like all of these things are part of the process. And so when we say holistically and we think of like a healthy home, like those things just, you have to do all of it. You have to do
Yeah.
all of it in order to like, you know?
Well, and we were just talking about on your show too. My boys are older and they've been watching. There's been
Yes.
little habits we've implemented over time, and you're growing little people that are going to go off one day. Like I'm very much in the thick of it 'cause my
Yes.
son's a junior. We're looking
Oh
at
my gosh.
colleges and stuff. I can't talk about it.
I know.
But for me, I'm like, I was putting a lot of pressure on myself the past year. Like, what can I do to best equip him to be like the best young adult ever and go out and be independent and do all this? And as I'm looking at it, I'm like, we've already done it. He's a great
Yes.
kid. He's a great kid. And like I talked about, like now I have to let him like mess up and figure it out on his own sometimes too, which is really hard as a mom. That's a whole different story. But yeah, it's these little things that you do and you're creating a habit of healthy in your home. Like you said, if you would have stuck on that route, especially with little girls, to be like, mom has to go run, 20 hours today. And why does mom only eat one meal a day? They're going to
Can you
notice.
imagine? I know. Can
Did
you
you
like,
imagine?
I cannot imagine. Like, and I think,
No.
and I think too, like looking back, I'm like, I, in having, like, I never had those discussions. Like, I love my mom. We're like besties, but I don't remember my mom having these conversations with
Oh,
me
same. No,
growing up.
they
And like,
didn't.
there was no conversation around whole foods or the type of foods you should be consuming or any of that. And now, like, my girls know what certain foods do. They know, what protein does. And I know we talked about this too. Like, they know what those foods do for their bodies because we have conversation, like a natural conversation. We have every meal together, which I homeschool and I have you know, I get to do lunch with them too, but
Yeah.
breakfast and dinner for sure.
Yeah.
We get to spend time at the dinner table. My husband's involved. It's all of us, like all five of us eat breakfast and dinner together. And
Yeah.
it's such an important piece to the puzzle because we get to have those conversations of the types of foods we're consuming and why we're consuming it. And we also get to educate them and talk them through all of the food, right? And emotionally, like, that's where a lot of, because all three girls are interrupting each other. I'm like, hey, it's not your turn. You just interrupted this child. That's a little disrespectful. Let's let this kid, let's let them continue their thought. And my middle one's the one that takes like forever to like finish a thought process. And we're all
Oh,
sitting here
I
like,
think it's
oh
I
my
think it's the
God.
second born. It's the second one.
Yes.
It's just their
It's funny
personality.
because
My
she's
oldest
like
is like, just
repeating.
spit it out.
Yes. I'm like, okay. And it's funny because I'm the fast thinker. And so is my oldest and my youngest. We're very similar. And then my husband and my middle are just like, okay, I'm going to take my time. I want to
Like, okay,
logically
get to the point.
explain this.
Love it.
I don't know. I'm like, I need
Wrap it
cliff
up.
notes today.
That's
Yeah.
so funny. That's so funny. But yeah, like I said earlier, being a mom is kingdom work, and it doesn't mean we're always going to get it right. I'm always worried. Like I remember a couple years ago, my son did something crazy and I just like yelled. And afterwards I was like, I traumatized him. He's going to remember this the rest of his life. And you can own up to your mistakes and be like, hey, I'm not always going to get it right, but it's okay. But they are watching, they are learning from you. So you want to make sure that you are establishing healthy habits that you would be excited for your kids to have too as they go off as young adults too. Now, I know you mentioned your faith is such a big part of your values. Same here. And I feel like my faith and my healthy habits are so intertwined, and they didn't used to be. They didn't used to be, right? I used to think of like working out as just like working out. Now for me is to clear my mind and I can hear God a lot more clearly as well. Can you speak on that a little bit too, Chase? Like, how is your health and God intertwined? Because they
Yeah,
are.
they totally are. And it's so funny. And I love how you put that when you put the pieces together, you're able to see him more, you can hear him
Yeah.
more. Your relationship with him just like deepens because
Mhm.
now instead of being in that space of like controlling, right? Like again, I shared that
Yeah.
earlier. It's not controlling anymore. Like it's no, I'm
Mhm.
honoring my body. I'm taking care of my body. I'm like, and that's because of my relationship with Jesus. And on top of that too, like he's not, I'm not the one in control here. Like he is ultimately, he is the one that is in control. And when I allow him to like just teach me, like he gives us all the signs and he like example, when I feel that, like, our body is so smart and God designed us in such a
Yeah.
beautiful way. And it's crazy to me that we have gotten away from listening to our symptoms, listening to what our body's telling us. And when you have that relationship with Jesus, I know that like this mind, body, spirit connecting, like it's so much louder, you
Mhm.
shared earlier, like you can hear him more, you see him more. And when I'm able to slow down and not trying to control everything, like you see the goodness in everything you're doing. You
Mhm.
see the goodness. Like I always go back to sharing this one butterfly story because it's so cool. Like you're just tense. I'm so tense and I don't remember what exactly was going on in my life at that moment, but like I remember being so tense and like heavy and heated internally. And I remember I went outside because the sunshine will do magical wonders for you. Again, God designed it that way. Like, how cool is that? So I go outside and I'm like, oh, I'm just sitting there and I'm so angry and there was so much heat in my chest. And then I'm like, ah, and I'm taking some deep breaths and I'm doing a little bit of like breath work while I'm out there. I didn't have my phone with me. I was just me and the sun and like just breathing. And here comes this little butterfly, like he just flies right by my face and he kind of like floats around in my like right in my eye view. I'm like, oh God, look at you just hanging out over here. And the amount of peace that
Yes.
came over me
Mhm.
from just being able to be present in that moment, like that's what it's about. And
Mhm.
when you take it from being in that control space and like the all or nothing, and you allow him to be like, you surrender and you allow him to be part of the process, like every little thing just opens up so much clearer. And the doors are like, they're not like hard to open, they just like open. Like the
Mhm.
wind blew it open. And I'm like, oh God, I see you. Look at you. Okay, that's so
I
amazing.
see you. Okay, God. I
Yes,
say
I
that all the
see you
time. I'm
saying
like,
all the things.
okay, God, I
Yeah,
see you.
I
What are you
see you.
trying?
And what's
I see you.
crazy is I used to work with another fitness company I was partnered with early in my fitness journey. And when I worked with that company, like the statement was, "Oh, we believe in we believe in God." And like they would say these are their values. And then as COVID hit that year, and then it was kind of stripped. We went from like being in like our small little leadership pods to then we're all on all company calls. And I remember being on those calls being like, this is not faith based. I'm like,
Mhm.
what is happening here? And like so much, and again, it's just God just like showing the things. And I'm like, this doesn't align. Like, I can't
No.
do this anymore. Like, and
Mhm.
I felt so much tension. And I was like, I'm out. And my husband, he just said the words. He was like, we'll make it work. And as soon
Yeah.
as he said that, because it was hard to like leave something you've been part of and
Yeah.
bought into, and then to go and off and like start your own thing. And the moment my husband said, hey, it'll be fine, I'm like, oh, okay, see, God doing that again, like just
Through
giving you
him.
that like
Yeah.
surrender and allowed me to like step into running the own thing. But what I want to say there, and the whole reason I shared that story, is because when you align your goals with
Mhm.
your faith or your values, right? When you align your goals, whether they be in your business, whether they be in your fitness and nutrition journey, whether they be in your home, like when you are aligned with your values, you actually have better, like I think it's like 46% better results because they align with your values. And we talked about that earlier. Like when you're aligned, like everything just flows so much easier.
Mhm.
And so that's why like bringing those together, I knew when I started my own company, I was like, God's going to be a part of it. I was like, because it's ultimately him. Like, he's the one that called me to do this and to work
Mm-hmm.
with women.
Yep.
And he's the one that kept opening all these doors. I'm like, it's his, and I got to do the things for him. And that's the same thing in our home. Like, everything that we do and how we continue to, improve as a mom and improve as a family and improve in our relationship with Jesus, like, it all boils down to how, like, the things that he's given us and
Mm.
and opening up all those doors. So yes. Yes, I
It's
totally.
so
And I knew,
aligned. It's so
yeah.
aligned. I just recorded an episode this week coming out next week, and it's all about this quote I heard at church. It was like, faith is an action verb, not a noun. And it really
Oh,
made me think of the faith habits that I have that makes me closer to God. I think it's one thing just to be like, yeah, I have faith. I think it's another thing to put it into practice and take some action, whether it would be prayer, devotional time, worship. But also, I think it's taking care of your body, listening to what God has programmed your body to do, being out in nature, connecting with him, and believing in yourself, having a little faith in yourself as well that you're doing this. Doesn't mean it's total self-reliance on yourself. It means more so like, trusting God has very much so equipped us with what we need to succeed. And you are very capable of what you are doing wherever you're at, whatever season of life that you're in. You got to put it into practice as um an action, and it's an action verb. It's not just a noun and just wishing and believing for it. It's putting it into action for sure.
yeah, I totally have to agree. And it's taking a little bit. I love how you said, like, the relationship piece, or you have to be, it's back to that word intentional. Like, you
Mhm.
have to be intentional with your time,
Yeah.
and building how you put that in your day can always look different. Like, we listen, we make breakfast with the girls. We've got our, worship music on,
Hmm.
and you can have him differently. Sometimes I wake up late and I don't get my Bible time like right in the
Yeah.
morning. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm worshiping more today. I'm saying my prayers as I'm trying to
Yeah.
get in the car. I'm like, dear Lord, please do these things today, or please, I thank you for this. And every day the worship can look different, but it's really cool once that you start to habit, like you say, like, you habit stack, you put it on in place in practice
Hmm.
at different
Hmm.
opportunities. And man, the shower is the best place to do it because I'm like just standing there,
Oh
you
man,
know,
the
and I'm
best,
like,
best
okay, yes,
ideas, best downloads from God, all the things.
yeah, all the things. I'm like, man, you give me such good ideas in the shower. I'm like, he's so cool. He's so cool. I'm like, can you just help me remember that when I get out? Because that one
Have
was
you
good.
have you seen shower notes before?
No, there's notes. Like, you
Okay, you
write
have to
them.
look on Amazon. So you can
Okay,
like just put it on your shower wall and it's waterproof. You can write down, yes.
nuts.
Yes, the best
That's so
thing.
good.
But yeah, I
That's so
think this
good.
all comes down to, Chase, as we wrap up here, being very intentional with your habits and how your values can really drive your habits to actually sticking. Because if there's no intention behind it, they aren't going to stick. You're going to find yourself on that constant wheel of starting and stopping, that all or nothing mentality. And just a reminder, your kids are watching, they're listening, and you're doing the best you can to take care of yourself. But remember, you can also not just completely rely on yourself. God's got your back, girl.
Yeah, this is so good.
Yes,
That's so
it is.
good.
Well, Chase, where can everyone find you? I know you have a free gift for everyone as well. Tell us more.
Yes. So of course, follow me on Instagram. I am an Insta. I love it when I get DMs from people. I absolutely love it. I'm a voice noter. So if you are into that kind of thing, I love cheering for people from all walks of life, and it's so fun. So follow me on Instagram, Chaselynn252. And then I've got an amazing fit community that I would love to invite you guys to. So we've got over 2,000 women in this. It's just a Facebook group, and there's so much excitement in there and just fun little tips that you can actually take action on. And so I do free trainings in there and like live trainings and all kinds of fun stuff. So it's a really great community to kind of just cheer on somebody and get a little bit of extra motivation along the way.
Super. Well, we will make sure to link all of that in the show notes for everybody. But Chase, thank you so much for sharing your heart with us, girl. I know you're going to make an impact on our audience.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chase, girlfriend, thank you so much for this conversation. My dear listener, I hope this conversation hit your heart like it did mine. So let's talk about our biggest takeaways. First, you have to start with your deep core values or foundation. I know we talk a lot about this at the beginning of the year. It's really great to make it a habit every quarter. We did this last year on the show. If you remember, go back and listen if you didn't, where you kind of just do a quarterly breakdown to be like, are my habits aligning with my values? And if they're not, change them, right? So for Chase and for myself as well, it all starts with Christ, and every decision supports that as like her compass, our compass. The everything we're doing is honoring him, honoring our bodies as a mom, with your finances, your health, your relationships. You have to have some type of compass or something to look at in your life that is creating your value system. And if every decision doesn't support your values, whether it's in regards to your relationships, your health, your finances, the mom you are, so on and so forth, girl, you need to change it. That is going to allow so much more consistency in your life. And it gets rid of decision fatigue, right? If you're asking yourself, well, does this really support my values? No, get rid of it. Stop doing it, right? Create a habit that is going to support your values. Now, what that is for you, you have to decide what that is. Maybe sit down, journal on it. You know, I love to go for a ruck, a little walk and talk with God. Like I was telling a client the other day, it's my favorite thing to do. But you have to determine what your values. So I would take some action today, sit down and reflect on what your values are and how in your motherhood, your health, your business, your work, your relationships, what habits are you doing to support those and values in your life? Next, I want you to take action, right? Action. What is the intention behind what you're doing? If you're really starting with surface level, that's fine, right? If your surface level is, I want to lose weight, great, okay. But I want you, after you start doing that habit, dig a little deeper. Well, what is the value of me losing weight? Well, I have more energy for my kids. I feel more confident with my husband. I have so much more clarity. The brain fog is lifted, or I just feel amazing, right? You have to take action and really dig deep into the intention. So if you want to start with surface level, do it. Start on the surface, but then dig a little deeper, okay? Once you have done that, okay? So just saying the weight loss one, right? It gives you more energy for your kids, more confidence for your husband. That's probably one of your values around your family and around your spouse. Well, what are some habits then that help support that, right? Maybe it's actually a walk with your husband at night. I've been doing walks after dinner with my husband and our dogs because, y'all, my oldest dog loves to run, and he doesn't know the difference between a run and a walk. So we're trying to train him so our other dog, who's a year old, isn't constantly pulling us during a walk. So it's been really fun just to have a walk and talk with just my husband and walking the dogs. That supports my values with my husband. But also, I want my kids to see the value of working out. They've been able to see me do that over the years and use that as a way to really take care of myself, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually as well, right? This will snowball into so many other areas, right? So if you're wanting to lose weight, focus on movement. How does that support you? I'm going to have more energy in regards to my values. And this can snowball then into maybe your food freedom, maybe like with your relationship with your spouse, and so on and so forth. And lastly, I mentioned this earlier, the overall health of your home is important, and you're the example. Your kids are watching. Your kids are watching. And I've just become even more aware with my kids being teenagers. They're 17 and 13. How much it's really like monkey see, monkey do. And they really do, even though they wouldn't admit it because they're teenagers, they are looking to us, and they do form some habits and values of their own based on how you are leading your home as a healthy person as well. Okay, so I want to finish with something that has been on my heart since I had this conversation with Chase and since I re-listened to it as well. And friends, make sure to go in the show notes so you can connect with her, get her free download, listen to her podcast as well. But it's what Chase said in this episode that hit me both times I've listened to it. And that is, God has programmed your body and given you what you need, right? You can rely on God. He's equipped us to succeed with our health, right? With the food, with the movement, with the mindset work. All you got to do is rely on Him a little bit more, a little prayer, a little walk and talk with God. And I promise, the more you connect your values to your healthy habits, girl, you're going to have inside out transformation. Chase, thank you so much again for this conversation, girl. I loved chatting with you. Friends, make sure to let us know if you loved this episode, if it hit your heart as well. I know it did mine. I'll catch you in the next episode, and as always, I'm rooting for you. I am so proud of you for listening to another episode of Habit Hack Your Health. I don't want you to just feel inspired, but I want you to go take action. To help you do that, go grab a free 7-day trial inside of the Training for Life app. This is habit-based fitness programming that you won't find anywhere else. A full fitness library with workouts programmed around what we need as midlife moms, and habit trainings and accountability community to help you stay consistent no matter what season of life that you're in. Go to trainingforlifeapp.com to start your free 7-day trial, and let's start training for life together. I'm so rooting for you, girl. I'll see you in the next episode.